Seventh grade, today we will be getting our notes on genetics. Um, you should be somewhat familiar with this as we just finished our genetics introductory project. So the essential questions are: what is genetics, and how are Punnett squares used to describe the genetic relationship between parent to offspring? Make sure you answer questions 1 and 2 on the left. Genetics is the study of heredity, which is basically how parents give their traits to their offspring. In sexual reproduction, the offspring get their genes from both parents. In asexual, it just comes from one parent. And this expresses specific traits or genes or characteristics. So Gregor Mendel was a monk and from Austria, and he studied pea plants and figured out that traits follow a particular pattern. And you can see on the right, you can see some of the things that he looked at, the different traits that he studied. So chromosomes, as we have studied in the past, are found in the nucleus, and they carry the genes. And genes are segments of DNA that are on the chromosomes. Here, you're going to answer what is genetics and who is considered the father of genetics, and then you're going to slide the boxes on the left over to where they belong. Okay, so for vocabulary, don't peek after you answer the questions, and you can look. You are going to tell what genotype is and phenotype. Think about it. If you didn't know the genotype of a plant with flowers that are a dominant color, which is the best way to determine it? So if you take a look at the flowers here, look at what color you're seeing more of and how they are grouped. Alleles. Alleles are variances in a gene. So they occur on one spot on a chromosome. It might be blood type, color blindness, other types of traits. So if you're to look at the picture and then you're to answer the question. So dominant and recessive alleles. This describes how likely it is for a certain phenotype to pass from parent to parent. Dominant alleles, you only need one copy of the allele for that trait to show. Recessive alleles, you need 2 copies of that trait to show. So if you look here on the right, long hair is recessive trait in cats. How many copies of the allele is needed for the trait to show? Inherited traits are genetically determined characteristics. So they come from both parents. So offspring has a combination of both parents' genes. And some of the examples of inherited traits are skin, hair, eye color, height, and freckles. Examples of dominant traits in dogs: short hair, brown eyes, large ears, curly hair, ears that stand up. So those are dominant traits. Recessive traits are long hair, blue eyes, small ears, straight hair, and droopy ears. So you're going to look at the picture on the left and the list of traits on this page here, and you are going to tell me what dominant traits this dog has and what recessive traits this dog has. So this shows dominant and recessive traits in cows. Using the table here, if a cow only had the dominant phenotypes, what traits would be shown? And individual cows who do not show phenotypes related to the recessive traits could have what type of genotype? That seems like a confusing question. Let me explain that. So cows that don't have recessive traits that show, they could have what kind of genotype? So could they have dominant alleles? Could they have recessive alleles? Could they have both? That's what that question's asking. So some of our vocabulary, and we've gone over this before. Homozygous dominant, that means that has 2 copies of the same dominant allele. Homozygous recessive means that it has 2 copies of the recessive allele. And heterozygous means it has 2 different alleles, one dominant and one recessive. Answer the 2 questions on the right. Now, here you have descriptions and examples. The blue boxes are the descriptions. The yellow boxes are the examples. So you're going to put the correct definition under each heading and then the correct example. So Punnett squares, we've worked with Punnett squares, and this is a diagram to determine the probability of an offspring having a particular phenotype, how it looks, and we express that in percentages. And as you well know, each box is 25% of the entire square, so each square represents 25% probability. So read the question for on the right and answer it. So Punnett squares only look at one gene that gets passed on, and it shows all the different ways that the offspring could inherit the gene. So here you're going to create a Punnett square. The square's already at the right. You're going to, it shows how to, we have a heterozygous yellow pea pod and a homozygous recessive green pea pod, and this was how you set up the Punnett square. Now here's the Punnett square completed. You're going to fill in the boxes with the genotype combinations. So you're going to tell me, so in each box, you're going to tell what, I'm sorry, this has already been filled out for you. And then you're going to figure out the percentage for each box, and you're going to answer the questions here. Now, here you're going to fill in this box, and you're going to give the percent that each offspring will have a black coat. And you're going to do pea plants, and what's the percentage of the offspring will be white. And how you do that is you drag the circle into the percent over to the percent chance. You do that on both boxes. And then you're going to read the box about cat fur color and cat fur length and answer questions 1 and 2. And then you're looking here at 2 pea plants. You're going to go in, you're going to fill in the box where the X's are here, and then you are going to answer these questions. And then you are going to define genetics and explain how Punnett squares are used to describe genetic information between parents and offspring. And then any questions you don't understand. If you have any questions about this, please let me know, and have a great day.